KKHT wants you to meet three of the classiest guys in real estate.
I am Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage.
I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate.
And I'm Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing. And together, we're the Real Estate Rat Pack. Much like us, real estate right now is smoking hot. So whether it's buying, selling, or owning, you need to check out the Real Estate Rat Pack.
They're here to take your calls and answer your questions live. Call now, 1-800-808-5548. And now, the Real Estate Rat Pack!
Good morning, everybody!
It's already gotten to be a little crazy this morning. Good grief.
Man, it's been a great morning so far, let me tell you.
We were told by our producer that we were going to have dead air for 30 minutes because the main transmitter went down. Unbelievable.
And the great thing was because we had the same group in from 2 weeks ago that we were not able to put on air.
Yes.
So it was a great joke, and for all those
actually,
listening.
I'd like to reach out. There's somebody that we know, several of us know, having a birthday today. Katie Maxwell with Intero Realty is having a birthday today, and she is a...
Happy birthday!
29 years young!
Again! And, of course, it's a great segue into one of our guests here, who is Randall Martin. He is the chair of HAR, which is Houston Association of Realtors, the NRG. And so, Randall, welcome.
Hello, guys. How's it going?
Rockin' and rolling.
So what I want to ask you, for everybody out there, what is NRG? What do they do? What do you have to do to be part of it? Go.
All right. So NRG, the Next Gen Realtor Group. We are the Houston Association of Realtors Young Professionals Network. And basically, to put it in a nutshell, success through education, training, high technology, engagement, involvement, and community volunteerism. Community service has been our passion for years. We hold 4 educational luncheons each year, 2 networking, and 2 community volunteer events. We have partnered with Rebuilding Together Houston to help get involved in the community, and basically
I've seen you guys out swinging hammers.
we swing hammer.
Yeah.
That's we put the hats on, the hard hats every once in a while. Real estate's a dangerous business sometimes.
Very cool.
We'll talk about that a little bit, I know, because I've helped you on some of those builds. Tell me how those houses are selected and how the families are elected to help them.
Tell me the truth. By help, he means stand around and look pretty and take photos.
Well,
right?
I have to give Rob some credit. I have to give Rob some credit because I remember 2 years ago, he pretty much saved our life by showing up with a truck full of ladders when we were short some. So, Rob, I
thought you were going to say a truck full of coffee.
Well, we partner with Rebuilding Together Houston. Rebuilding Together Houston selects the homeowners, and then they call on us, NRG, to get involved. We hold our meetings, we advocate, we get people, and we get the real estate community. Our clients show up. Our clients' kids show up. We put the little kids to work, child labor laws. We throw it out the window for this event. So
I employ my kids to edit audio for the show. They're very sharp. And my daughter did the math finally. She figured out she's getting like below minimum wage. So I'm like, you're catching on.
I'm sure there's a lot of laws against it. So
I'm sure. Not that really happens. That's purely hypothetical right there.
Hypothetical. And so anyway, Energy does great stuff. And now you've also got a group of people that each year get selected called a 20 under 40. And we have a lot of them here in the studio today. And so tell us a little bit about that and then introduce our guests.
All right. Well, this is really something I'm excited about because we created this award to highlight rising stars in the real estate industry. So NRG did the 20 under 40 rising stars in real estate, where we highlight 20 rock stars every year that are just doing exceptional work in the community with the association, volunteerism, all the things that NRG is about. But they're selling real estate too. They're actually out there producing, setting examples for other young realtors to follow. Now, it's a tough award because it's been growing up. It's one of the most sought after things that we do, and we had a record number of applications this year. I'm talking huge. We spent hours going through this list, and we narrowed it down to 20. That's hard. However, I got 4 of them here today, 4 exceptional rock stars, and I'll go down the list here. Next to me is Sarah Ghandour. I got Michael Crider, Cherin Cox, and Danny Garcia in the studio, and that's a whole lot of awesome for one room.
We have Danny sitting there doing the air guitar. But they also are excellent in real estate. That's what makes it such an interesting show.
and Joe and Chris, we talked about doing something different this time because usually everybody has a segment. But I thought we'd kind of open this up because what we were talking about the other day, and we had an HR function the other day that was called the Big E. And it really kind of brought it home is that there's a big disconnect. The average realtor is 57 years old. The average first-time home buyer is 28 to 32. There's a huge disconnect. So what I want to get from this group is you got the Generation X, Y out there. What's different about them? And so, Sarah, why don't you start with this?
Yeah, hi, Rob. It's a pleasure to be here on the show. You know, I do work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and what I'd say is that I've learned a lot that just being in the industry, they're on demand. They're very techno-savvy. When they want to reach you and, you know, they want to, whenever they try to reach you, they want a response in less than literally 10 minutes. If you're not quick to get back to the younger clientele, then they will pass you up and find someone else. So it's just about customer service with the younger consumers, just really going out of your way to make them feel special. Definitely social media like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all those different avenues. It's not so much being on the phone. That's a little bit more traditional. But I would say every now and then, like, just check in and just show them that they're very special. So, and then that makes them feel great.
You know, and I think that's interesting what you're saying about social media. You know, one of the things that happens to me all the time is I end up, because of my clients, finding out about Voxter, about all these different mechanisms, seriously, that they want me to communicate with them on. And so, you know, I go home all the time, and I've got these new apps downloaded and looking and seeing what they are, and half the time I'm like, what is this? But it's amazing because you set up with one, all of a sudden you got 10 new clients that have looked you up on one of these social medias. And so you're right. They want to be immediately contacted, and they want to be able to contact you you said seconds. I would agree, in a second's notice. Because it's the difference between achieving success with that client or possibly losing it with somebody else who did get back with them immediately. And are you seeing some of those? I mean, you know.
By the way, Chris, my daughter's available for $25 an hour for teaching you iPhone stuff.
Sweet to know.
I am curious about that. You know, one of the things, I wrote a book last year, and one of my business partners said, I'm going to write a book, and the book is called Let Me Give You My Money. Because so many people, their inability to follow up, their inability for the basics of business keep them from getting money. I'm like, I got money in my hand, I want to give it to you, but you won't return a phone call. So that's a really interesting thing to me, how that's going to play out now in a generation that is used to instant communication. You know, it used to be if you called and left a message, you kind of 24 hours is an expected time frame, you know, that I'll hear back by tomorrow. And then that's like a customary, that's okay, you know. You call me the next day within 24 hours, that's good. You're doing okay on the follow-up. Anytime prior to that, and you're really on the ball. Now it's like you said, 10 seconds. I'm really interested to see how that plays out for the professionals out there and how they adjust to that.
Yeah, Cherin Cox is down there, her head shaking, so let's get her take.
Yeah.
Let's get your take on this, Cherin.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to call right away. You've got to text them back right away. You've got to email them back right away, which is all fine, but you have to do it. I would say that one of the most interesting things about working with the younger consumer is that while you're talking to them on the phone, if they've been referred to you, they're probably Googling or Yelping or trying to find out some type of clout score on you. You've got to be prepared. You've got to know what these things are, and you've got to be aware that people are rating your service. So if you're not out there checking online to see what your ratings are, you better get started now.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned Cloud Score because I got a request from Danny Garcia, actually, to say, hey, download Cloud. We want to start rating on it. And I was like, what
and
the
that's
heck
because
is
he
this?
went to the Big E, and he brought that specifically up. That was one of the messages. To get
And, you know, I was really shocked to see that because it's like a credit score on social media. I was like, and I remember the guy saying, I was really upset because I rated 11. I'm like, man, I'm pretty good. I'm way over a 50. And I was like, I guess that's impressive or what? I don't know. I'm learning about it.
Yeah, he had 60, but, you know, somebody like the president had like only like an 87 or a 90.
So I'm not doing that bad. I'm good.
Halfway there.
I have a 51, by the way.
I had a 53. You know, it was
47.
amazing because I didn't know what it was. All of a sudden, Danny sends this to me. Again, I
Don't
was
make
like,
me flex
I'll
my
download
cloud
it.
score.
53.
I will flex my
But you know,
cloud
the cool
score on
thing
you.
is this, like what he's saying, you get perks and stuff because people know you interact with them. And it's funny how many people started asking me, like, you know, hey, what is this cloud score? I mean, right away, people were just asking me. I'm like, I just signed up. That's all I did. You know? It's like, leave me alone. Come on.
I'm hearing a new business here. Improve my cloud score USA. Yes.
Well,
I'm currently at an 80. Thank you very much.
Michael Crider
impressive.
down there. I know he's
Thank
got
you,
something
thank
to say about this. So, Michael, tell me what your take is on this.
Well, we are in an instant gratification society, but one thing that I've also noticed you really have to do because of that is handle their expectations. There is nothing that's instant about closing transactions. So they need some help understanding the process and understanding what's normal, what's not normal, what's important, and what's not important. So that there's a little bit of a disconnect there, and they need a lot of help understanding that.
I would absolutely agree. One of the things that I always, I'm one of these guys that sometimes I get on the soapbox, right? And I tell everybody is I love technology. I absolutely, I embrace it. I love it. Like when Danny sends me something, I put it right on. But I also believe that we have to continue to practice a very basic approach of human communication and what I always call is palm pressing. Nothing's ever going to replace, though, the ability to meet somebody face-to-face, to be there in front of them, as you were saying, Michael, as well, to walk them through the process of real estate transaction. Number one is because it's a hard thing to understand. If you don't have a professional like yourselves, it's a hard thing to do on your own. We never recommend that. But number two is what's happening in the changes that you're seeing in the industry, both in real estate transaction and multiple offer opportunities in the finance section. It's only going to continue to get tougher as the market continues to change and grow. And so, while we want to embrace technology, I always tell everybody is remember there's a very important get back to basics, which is utilize the try and true methodologies of visiting with people along with technology to make that happen. You were going to say something, Danny?
Well, I think one of the biggest downturns on technology is the information that's out there. So your clients call you and you're not on top of it. They almost seem like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it makes you look unprofessional because according to them, it's like, how come I know more than you do? So, I've got so many news medias down on my phone. I currents uploaded big time. I think I just need a separate device just for that.
Yeah. Improve My Information USA.
That's it. That's the way to do it. Yeah, so, it kind of gets you. Client comes in and says, well, did you know this and that? You're like, so, I've learned that I just have to stay on top. So every night, I read articles and articles. So everything that the radio shows you guys are talking about in the morning, man, I got to make sure I read it last night.
And there's a lot of bad information, a lot of dated information out there, too.
Yep.
So that's one important.
And there's some websites that aren't that accurate.
Oh, not
right.
And it's on the internet. It's true, Rob.
Right? If you go to HAR.com, though, that is up to date. It refreshes every 15 minutes. So that's accurate stuff. Those other sites a lot of it's stale, a lot of it's duplicates, a lot of it is actually bogus.
And and you mentioned one thing also. Well, the internet is a great tool for all of us to do business on. I tell everybody who's listening to us out there, remember one thing is it's only as good as the information of who it was provided from. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. And there's also a lot of information you read on the internet that's not pertinent to Houston. When you read some of the national articles associated with real estate, guess what? Houston is in a bubble in and of itself. It's a different market. We are in a different time frame. And you have to take that into account when reading some of those national news articles.
Well, something I want to talk about, I know we're already almost coming up on a break here in just a couple seconds, but something I want to talk about when we come back. The show's focus is always to give content to the listeners, to provide education to them. It's not just talking about what we're doing and having fun. So when we come back, I want to talk about, from our perspective to the listener and helping them understand the current ways to interact with their realtors and what you're finding are some of the best ways to utilize the technology and that type of thing that we're talking about and how to give that out there to them as good things that you found.
Yeah, and the show today really is real estate for a new generation. That's what we want to talk about. What's new? What are they buying? Those types of things. Those are the things we want to find out.
We definitely do. And, one of the things we tell everybody, this is a live show. We have some great individuals in the studio right now. Remember, you can give us a call, 800
808-5548.
I went brain dead a little while ago on that one, by the way.
And
yeah,
then
but give us a call. We are absolutely live. As
we should have just left them hanging.
The silence right there. I'm surprised you guys didn't, actually.
The cricket's going.
But, pick up the phone, give us a call. We have some great brain power. We have a lot of individuals who are looking at technology, everything associated with real estate. We want to hear from you, but more importantly, we're going to answer some of those good questions right after the break.
When you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Show. We need to have Sigmund just follow us around. And Joe is in the house.
Joe's in the kitchen making coffee.
I was sitting here chatting with Randall Martin on the break, and here he was kind of relaying what we were talking about and getting back and being researched. Kind of talk about it was a computer buying experience, I believe.
Okay, so the consumer today, I'm the generation we're talking about, and we are a wired generation. Some people say we came out of the womb with a smartphone in our hand, right? When I was growing up, yeah, my grandmother taught me DOS, but it was not too long after where we're downloading apps.
What is DOS?
Whoa! It's an ancient religion. Use the Force. But I have an interesting story that relates, I think to today's consumer. So I'm a researcher. People don't know that about me, but I sit at home. I read reviews. I go on Yelp. I look at all these consumer reviews before I do anything. Well, I was sure that I had researched laptops enough to know what I wanted to buy. I knew I wasn't going to buy an Apple, not for my everyday. I wanted a Windows 8 PC, and I just walked in. I walked into Best Buy with the intention to buy an HP, and that's exactly what I thought I was doing. Until I interacted with an actual live person, I realized what I needed was not in line with what I thought I needed from the information on the internet. It took that person in the store showing me that maybe I wasn't going in the right direction, and I ended up walking out with a Samsung. So was I upsold? Maybe a little bit, but am I happy? I am beyond happy.
Well, sitting here with my Samsung laptop, I think you made a wise choice.
Here's what
there.
I tell everybody. You know what? You can get the information, but we have the experience. We know what to do with the information and what it means. Because a lot of times I'll get this data and they go, this is this. They're drawing conclusions based, as you did. Mm-hmm. They're making the conclusion. Of course, first of all, you got some consumer feedback. You found out Windows 8 wasn't that good. Mm-hmm. You wait for 8.1 to come out.
Oh, great. Now we got a lawsuit from Microsoft. We need to send an invoice to Best Buy for free advertising there, and we're going to be in a lawsuit over Microsoft.
But let me relate it to the real estate.
Rob.
Let me relate it to the real estate industry, though. So how often as realtors, and I've got us in here, how often do we get a call where the consumer says, hey, I want to see, I already know which house I want, I just need you to show it to me. It's going to be 123 Main Street. Take me to the house, let's write an offer. And then after we meet that person, that's where in the live interaction, you can't take that away. You got to go back. You still have to shake hands. You still have to meet people face to face. And then maybe that house that they were in love with isn't the exact one. That's our job as realtors, to step in and take over from there.
Well, one of the things also, we actually have a call right now from Katrina. Katrina?
Yeah.
It is somebody. It's Katrina. Katrina, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. Thank you for calling to the show, number one. You have a question out there.
I do. My question is, I've been taking real estate online for quite some time, but sometimes I get a little discouraged. Is it still a good market to make a career out of it?
Let me repeat the question here so everybody knows. One of the things she was asking was she's currently taking real estate classes online, and she wants to know if it's still a good career to get involved in the real estate industry to become an agent.
Nah. Not really. I'm kidding.
I think everyone agrees it's
Katrina.
an awesome market.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say, if anything, I'd love to encourage you, don't give up. It's a great opportunity, and I think you should just hang in there. And I think you should finish out your course because you would love to be a realtor. It's definitely a blessing every day that I go to work.
Thinking the great words of a philosopher is, you can do it.
And we can help.
It's a great market. It's a great market. You got resources out there. You got people out there. It's a great time to be in the real estate industry. I've always said.
And you may want to turn down your radio just a little bit. We're getting a little bit of feedback, and so that'll mess it up for you.
I got in on the downtime, and right off the bat, we started doing really good. So I always tell people, they say, when's a good time to buy a house? When's a good time to do this? It's when you're ready, period. Right,
I would agree.
If you're prepared mentally, spiritually, and everything, go for it. Don't let anything else stop you,
Right.
It is hard work, though, but it's very rewarding.
Cherin, you want to say something?
And here's I want to jump in on this because as a business owner, I've been in business for many years now, and I have a passion for building business. And I think one of the classic mistakes that a lot of folks make in real estate is that they see it as a sales job. Mm-hmm. That you're selling houses. Make no mistake about it, you are starting a business, and part of the job is selling. That's only part of the job. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes along with it, and so it would behoove you to learn how to be a business owner because there's so many mistakes that you'll make along the way if you only see it as a salesperson. So having said that, the reason I say that is have a passion for doing that. If you have no passion for doing it, then go be a great employee somewhere. There's nothing wrong with being a great employee. The world needs great employees because it is a lot of freaking work to be a business owner and to do it excellently. We have enough cruddy business owners out there. We don't need more of them, right? So have a passion for it. That'd be my input for you.
And Cherin, you want to say something?
Katrina, my best advice is to definitely seek out a firm that gives you a lot of support and definitely want you to continue educating yourself beyond your licensing. I cannot tell you enough how important it is to get a firm that has a big support system for you.
Prudential Anderson Properties comes to mind.
Well, so
Come on,
Rob. Come on.
This shameless plug brought to you by Rob Cook.
Yeah. Hey, one of the things I can say from a third party, actually, obviously, is, I've been in the business now going on 11 years, 12 years, actually. And so, I work primarily with realtors, just like yourselves. And so one of the things that we saw in the downturn, we saw a lot of people leave the industry. Now, let me tell you, there was a lot of people who needed to leave the industry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to deny that right there. But one of the things that is still required as individuals, as Rob said and as Cherin said, is if you have a passion and a love for it, get back into it and develop it right. The one thing I will tell you is what I'm seeing of individuals that are coming back into the business, they're actually not taking, and I hate this approach, but the used car salesman approach, they're not taking that approach. They're looking at it as a business and as a professional career to grow. As long as you tackle it that way, it's an incredible business to be in. You meet incredible people. You develop some friendships like what we have here in this room today. You end up developing as a person just as much as you do as a business, and it can be extremely rewarding if you approach it the right way.
So she asked us what time it was. We told her how to build a watch. So hopefully that answers your question, Katrina.
Yeah, she's actually hung up, so
okay.
hopefully she...
hopefully she's still listening.
She definitely was listening, I guess.
So I want to get back on target here because we do have a new consumer out there, and we talked about how fast they wanted to be replied to. Tell me what they're buying.
The majority of the consumers right now are purchasing new construction, and I am working probably with half of them building their homes. So imagine first-time home buying and new construction.
And going through the building process.
It's a lot of patience and educating the consumers. And I would say the most important thing is just developing the relationship and letting them know up front that you have their best interests at heart.
I would say Houston's made great efforts to beautify the city, to bring people back into downtown, down into the inner loop area as well. And we recently went to a H-Town Day, which had a lot of speakers from around the city. Even Mayor Denise Parker was there. But one of the stats that I saw was that we're almost at a 50-50 with consumers wanting to live in a mixed-use style community and a suburb community. So you got, there's still, our suburbs are growing like wildfire. I mean, we have master plan communities all around the city, but we're finding a lot of people coming in town again and doing the townhome lifestyle where you can basically walk. You got a dog park across from you, and then you've got a store to your left. I mean, so we're seeing a trend in both directions.
Yeah, and if you're a seller out there too, you got to understand the importance of first-time home buyers. There's a lot of young professionals. Both of them have jobs. They don't have the time or the desire to come back and rehab and fix up property. So you really need to understand the market to get your home prepped to sell it. It doesn't have to be the most up-to-date house, but it does need to be in very good presented, not a handyman special type presentation.
Yeah. And it's funny that sometimes these first-time home buyers are buying $400,000 and $500,000 homes.
That's true.
So that's what I find pretty incredible. It's not that $125,000 one.
And if you do have that handyman special, we've got investors that we work with too. They would love to pick it up.
and where can they reach you, Michael?
Well, that
281-656-4211.
And Michael, I was a Keller Williams team leader, and Michael was one of my agents. My office is one of my very favorite people. So, and he's a great agent.
Well, it's funny you mention what he's saying. I got clients that have bought already 3-4 homes from me, and going in, they're young investors. They're just not seeing the market going the way they want to, and they're realizing there's a safety net in real estate. And I mean, going back what she said, we even started a construction company because accommodating with our clients' needs and with putting into the market what the market demands, not, hey, soup it up, put all this stuff into it, and it's going to get you top dollar. It doesn't always work that way, So it is a great time. Buyers are just buying left and right. They're finding deals everywhere. Even the parts of town you don't think are desirable, they're moving like crazy. And
We've got a call on the line from Corey, too, so I want to make sure we can jump in quick enough. I don't know if we're going to have enough time, but let's see if we can get on there. Corey, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Corey. What's your question for our young real estate rocket stars here today?
Well, I was just calling since I'm on the other side. I'm on the lending side, and I was listening to you guys. What are the turn times you guys are seeing as far as with your preferred lenders? Is that becoming an issue with the new builds and them taking a little bit longer since Houston is booming? I guess that was my question.
What are the turn times now on the lending side for you guys? Since you're talking about new construction a lot, are you seeing it taking longer because of the market and what's going on right now? There's so much demand.
From a lending perspective, I can speak on that really fast. One of the things,
you do lending, don't you?
Exactly. Yes, there is something right there.
That.
One of the things I tell everybody is contrary to popular belief, lending is still happening. There's plenty of money out there. And if you go with a good, reputable mortgage company, and again, I'm not a big bank basher, but I also can tell you is for a new home purchase right now or any purchase right now, you definitely don't want to maybe go that route. The average turn times are definitely less than 30 days. I mean, in our case, we average about 2 weeks. The one thing that has happened is the government shutdown. The one thing it affected the ability to process 4506Ts and Social Security numbers. So what happens is there was a little bit of a delay that you're going to see from some investors and some lenders out there who are in backlog in reference to if you're a self-employed borrower, and they needed to get those verified. But in generally speaking, almost everyone that everyone that I'm seeing and peers of mine in the industry are all closing less than 30 days. A lot of them are closing, in my case, we're closing in 2 weeks. And so don't be afraid to engage, and don't be afraid to engage fast, because there's a lot of activity going on. There's a lot of lending going on, and there's not a lot of trouble that I see in that area. You all seeing anything different?
Nothing different. Nothing different.
Well, you Corey, I believe you are on the lending side, isn't that
Yeah, I'm
correct?
a loan officer, so yeah, I was going to plug in my Compass lending group, but I just want to be on the other side.
So everybody's seeing the same things out there with their clients. It's about 30, 45 days to conclude a transaction. I think that's reasonable, even with the slowdown and things like that. January 1 might change some things, but that's a fodder for another show.
Oh, yes. Yes, I would absolutely agree right there. Well, hopefully that answers your question right there, Corey.
Yeah, that's it. It was nice talking to you guys. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, bye.
Thanks a lot. For all those listening, again, time flies when you're having fun. We are coming up against a break right now, but stay tuned, and we will be right back.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Show. Time flies when you're having fun, but we're back for another 30 minutes still.
That was the fastest 30 minutes I think we've ever had.
Sure was.
So I want to get back to a question I asked earlier.
Yes, absolutely.
What, from a technology standpoint, not just the younger generation. I mean, obviously I think that's pushing it, but, hey, I'm not young, but I'm not old. And I love technology. I'm always playing with new apps and gadgets and whatnot. What in the process of doing what you guys do have you found has been really useful, and you're like, oh, this is a cool thing. I want to integrate this into what I do and part of the experience for my clients, so that you're pushing that technology back out to the buyers and that type of thing.
Well, nobody answered
worded.
once, by the way. But I do want to put out there that I think HAR.com and the app, by the way, is the number one app to go if you're looking from a real estate perspective. If you're looking for a home out there, and I want y'all to talk about this, I can tell you from a consumer, my standpoint from a consumer, it's absolutely the best app, bar none, compared to anyone else or anything else that I have seen if you're in the market for looking for any type of home.
And that is the bottom line. I mean, I see people coming out here with all these different sources. I get clients that send me a list of homes that don't even exist or they've been off the market for a long time. I was getting offers on a house that I didn't even have on the market at one point from another website, and people were calling me, leaving me nasty letters saying, oh, you're trying to keep this for yourself. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's just going back what you say, I get emails from other websites that say, hey, have you updated this? What's the status on it? They're waiting for me to tell them, and they're showing the property is active. So it's important that you are interacting with your agent, and you are running by the stuff. And like Chris said, HAR is the number one website you got to be utilizing in this industry, period.
Yeah,
HAR.com is the way to go. And I mean, I say that because I've had a lot of clients where they'll send me a list of homes, and then next thing you know, it's like the properties that are not even on the market or have been sold years ago. And some of them have even gone and knocked on some of these doors trying to see if they can talk to the so-called seller, and it's actually the new buyer.
It's important to know, too, that we don't control those sites. A lot of them are syndicate sites that pull data feeds off of other sites. And so there's a daisy chain, and there's a delay of information. So, we don't control those. So we are very spoiled with HAR. It's a wonderful association website.
Yeah, I will use Zillow. I'm not going to bash Zillow, but Zillow will show that they have 66,000 listings. And people come to this, why is HR only showing 40,000? Because
it's right.
26,000 of them aren't active listings, or they're bogus listings, or they're expired. I mean, there's a lot of the statuses, they're not active.
Wait, really? It's not accurate. I could sell my home for $1 million when it's really only worth $400,000.
We actually had the
really? I didn't realize. I thought Zillow was true and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, another lawsuit, Joe. Here we go. You might.
The words.
Oh, is that Zillow calling in now?
Yeah.
But let's go over maybe some other technologies. Or Cherin, you want to say something?
I just want to piggyback on your comment about the bogus information. For those of you out there that are leasing homes, be very careful if you go away from websites other than HAR.com, which is Houston Association of Realtors, to Craigslist, those types of things. Be sure you do due diligence before signing any paperwork. Make sure the property is actually for lease. There's a lot of scams out there. Just be careful. Make phone calls, and like I said, do all your due diligence.
You know, with that too, deal with people that are local on Craigslist. Do not send your money to a landlord in Madagascar. Not a good idea.
Yeah, there's quite a number of scams going on.
Nothing against anybody from Madagascar, though.
No, we're local. We're licensed. It's accountable. Overseas, it's not accountable.
We actually have another caller on the line, and it's Pamela. Are you there, Pamela?
Yes, I am.
Well, how you doing, Pamela? You have a question for us?
Yes, I do. I have a question in regard to after you filed a bankruptcy and it's been discharged, you've completed it. How long do you have to wait in Texas before you can purchase another home? And if you have to wait 2 years, what things do you need to do to be prepared, to be ready in 2 years?
Well, great question, by the way. And, one of the things that we tell everybody is people go through different challenges in their lifetime, and sometimes people have to go through a bankruptcy process. It's going to depend on a couple of items. Number one is what type of bankruptcy you filed for. You have a Chapter 7 and a Chapter 13. Very big difference in those because a Chapter 7 is not a repayment program, and Chapter 13 is a repayment program. So the lenders all look differently on that, right? If it's in a repayment program and you're doing a government loan, you can literally, on an FHA loan, refinance and finance a new home, even in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. There is no waiting period when it comes to a government loan. Now, on that same process, if you are doing a conventional or a jumbo loan, you actually have to wait a certain period of time, minimum 3 years. They're actually increasing that amount to 4 and 7 in different cases. Now, on a Chapter 7, again, Chapter 7, minimum 2 years on your government loans. Right now, almost minimum 4 years on your conventional loans. But there's one thing I tell everybody is what you want to do is you want to start establishing the second you get out of bankruptcy, the one thing you need to start doing, and this is something Joe can talk to as well, is you need to reestablish your trade and credit history. There's nothing wrong with what happened before, but what an investor and a lender wants to see is that you have established the ability to pay your debt going forward. You've not gotten back into a whole bunch of debt, and you have reestablished a payment history so that 2 years or 3 years or whatever it might be, depending on what type of bankruptcy you did, and a lender can go back and look at your credit, have a good credit score, and also show that you have the ability to repay and the ability to pay the debt and potential new debt when it comes to a home.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on something as well for you that I see every day. This is just so you know, this is Joe Orsak with Improve My Credit USA. So we help folks every day looking at their credit profile and making sure that the information is accurate. And that's what I wanted to touch base with you on. Our reporting system has some serious issues, and my whole company's role is to make sure that what is being stated about you on your credit profile is 100% accurate and verifiable. I had a friend of mine that went through a bankruptcy. He lives out of state a couple of years ago, and we're working with him because he had a judgment filed on him on his home that was included in the bankruptcy, and it was filed 4 months after the bankruptcy was complete. So his rights were violated, the law was violated, yet the information's on his credit report and massively hurting his credit score well beyond the impact of the bankruptcy. So he has a credit issue and a legal issue. So we have a law firm that we work with for specifically working with credit-related issues. So you really, really, really want to sit down with a credit expert to look at your credit report to make sure that the information is reporting accurately, because going through the bankruptcy and having gotten to the other side of it is one thing. Now you have to deal with how that information is reported on your credit report and how long that impacts you after the bankruptcy.
Pamela, does that answer some of your questions for you?
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
Likewise.
Pamela, give our guys a call, Improve My Credit USA. You can reach them at 281-914-4116, or just go to ImproveMyCreditUSA.com, and it's a free consultation, so it won't cost you anything.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you very much, Pamela.
So where were we in the conversation as far as Cherin was talking?
Technology, and sort of where we're standing. And what are some of the obviously, I think we all agree that HAR.com, especially the app that I use on my iPhone, is one of the best existing. But what are some other tools and technologies and more importantly, some social media sites that are really driving forward business that actually add value to that buying process?
We talked about the best website to search, har.com, but how does technology help us work with the consumer? And we haven't touched on that yet. So when I've gotten the business, now I haven't been in the business as long as Rob, but when I got in...
Very few people have.
He's the best out there.
And by the way, I'm Randall, and yes, I have a clout score of 64 in here. But I think my clout score, never mind, I'm not going to go there, Rob. But so technology, what we're doing. So when I first got in, I can remember writing a contract, showing a house, and the person wanted to make an offer, and I had to write the contract by hand on the hood of my vehicle. And then I had to run back to the office, and I had to scan it in and send it over to the agent or fax it over to the other agent. So what happens in 2013? So now I show up to listing with an iPad, no paper. I can show homes that way. Client likes the house. I'm able to pull comps on the agent side of my HAR app, show them the numbers right then and there. If they want to write an offer, I pull up zip forms online, write the offer from the iPad. They sign it digitally through DocuSign or digital ink, and then boom, the offer's emailed. How long did that take? Less than 30 minutes. Whereas before, I'm talking hours. I'm missing dinner with the family because I'm over there faxing and handwriting stuff.
And of course, in this day and age, where we have about 3.5 months supply of homes on the market, if you don't get those offers in quickly, what happens?
They're gone.
They're gone.
They're gone.
I posted the question earlier on Facebook. What ways are you finding that your younger generation interacts with you when buying and selling real estate? And one of our previous guests on the show, Monica Foster, said the younger generation equals texting, and more texting.
Yeah.
So, this brings up a question for me. The first couple of years I started my business, I told my wife, "You're just plan on not seeing me for the next 2 years." Because I was out networking and doing all this stuff, and 9, 10 o'clock at night was a normal thing for me 3-4 nights a week. And now I cut off at 5 o'clock. I go home at 5 o'clock and I don't answer phone calls. It kills me. I want to look at the phone. I want to return phone calls. It kills me. But with the younger generation and texting and phone calling and all this sort of thing, and all the different ways that they can reach you on Facebook. I have people reach me on Facebook. They call and I don't answer the phone, and then they hit me on Facebook because they see me on Facebook. And I'm like, okay, that was sneaky. You're getting around the phone call. I'm playing right now, How do you manage to maintain a personal life to disconnect and still...
I knew there was a question in there somewhere.
Yeah.
No one has one.
Personal life. What are you talking about? Personal
What are you
life?
referring to?
It's
This
all
is the
work, no
personal
play.
life.
Yeah, this is personal.
You leave the country.
Well, I know my wife is listening. I really want to tell her I appreciate her and everything she does, because it is the truth. I mean, today hey babe, this is me, Danny. Anyways, she's running around everywhere, and it's like it is demanding. Since I go, sweetie, hey, they hit me on Facebook, they hit me on Google Plus, they hit me on this. They have a question. And, it is, but, going back, it is the demand of the consumer, and it's something we all deal with all the time. I mean, going back, in the beginning, I wasn't used to checking my email through Facebook, and now it's a habit. So, you're getting bombarded left and right, clients asking you questions, and it's just ongoing and ongoing, but, it's fun at the same time.
I'm gonna say one thing, because I'm available 7/24. I work all the time, and you know this because you and I have done a lot of stuff together. But one of the things that I think being in this profession allows us to do is during the week when I have an opportunity, I do the things, though, that maybe other people can't in the hours that I can make available. And Cherin, you were going to talk to something about that, or I guess what Danny was talking about that time frame. But that's what I end up doing a lot of times. So I still work. When I leave here, I have an 11:30 and I have a 1 o'clock appointment. But I still have things and ways that I interface and do things for my family that make up for that.
We are in demand from our clients. However, I will say that they continually ask you, how do you have time to do anything? All you ever do is work, and I agree. During the day, we are able to do some of the personal things that we need to get done, take clothes to the cleaners, those types of things. But I also believe that most people, if you set the expectation, will absolutely respect that. So if you tell them that on Wednesday nights you have something every Wednesday.
Yeah,
we're going on a break, I guess.
Time
Sorry.
flies.
Time flies when I'm talking. Wonderful.
Well, we are coming up against the break as usual. When we come back, we'll have Cherin continue with that thought. But stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Show.
I have one thing I want to say. We have A.B. Boyles in the house today. He is one of the great inspectors. He's also one of our sponsors. So I wanted to do a shout out. Hi,
He's standing quietly in the corner.
Quietly in the corner. He doesn't necessarily like to talk.
It's like a shark feeding frenzy. He's afraid to jump in.
There's a lot of energy. And so, Cherin, we left you in the middle of a thought last time. We were talking about technology and personal time and things like that. So, and I know that
How do you set boundaries?
Sarah had some things about some of the technology she uses also. So finish your thought on your personal time and technology and how that works.
Like I was saying, that if you set the precedent up front that, you have obligations other than work, God forbid, I can't imagine that would even be possible, then all of your clients will respect that. And if they don't, maybe they're not the best client for you. But I've found that even though I'm getting calls or texts at 10, 11 o'clock at night, if I can't return the text at 11 o'clock at night, they usually understand. But Sarah, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you.
Thank you. Actually, to add to what you were speaking about, I definitely set the expectation with my clients because I give 100% throughout the work hours, and we all need time to have time for ourselves and our family. So if you get that, and whenever I get the text at 11 o'clock, I'm like, I don't see that one.
And let me ask a question, because this is always important. You mentioned setting boundaries, but it's also, there are some clients that you can't that are not worth taking on. How do you address that, by the way? Because, I know that I have to address it sometimes and say, I'm just not the right lender for you. I'm not the right person to do this transaction with you because they're just unreasonable in a transaction, or because of, how do you address something like that?
As a younger person, you have to be prepared for the 1-star review on Yelp when you do that. I've fired people. I've had clients that we helped a lot, and they just felt like they could treat my staff like they were juvenile delinquents and, be belligerent with them, everything else. And I'm fire them. I don't want them. Get rid of them. And then the 1-star review on Yelp. I'm like, isn't that convenient? You had great results, but now you're upset.
Oh, gosh. If you were going to travel somewhere, or you needed to take a cab somewhere, would you hire a taxi that's going to take you all around the city and then eventually end up where you want to be? Probably not. It's the same thing with our business. Why would you want to work with a realtor that's not going to get you on track and to the point? So there's a roadmap to this process. Yep. And if you're not going to follow the roadmap, I do this for a living. And I have a map that's proven that works. If you're going to follow that roadmap, we're going to work together. And you're going to buy a house or sell a house.
Do you guys find this? Because I had posted earlier the comment on Facebook about what do you find in the ways that younger people interact? Well, I got these different replies. Well, one of my realtor friends said, I find that everybody's communicating the same. Everybody's texting, everybody's emailing, and all that sort of thing. He said the one thing that I find is that younger people, the only difference between younger people and older people is that they think they know it all. And so I was going to say, are y'all seeing that?
But see, talking about that's what I was going to say. A lot of times what happens is, going back, you got to be on top of things, because the biggest challenge I've had going back, letting go of clients that are unreasonable, is the amount of information they're getting. And sometimes there's other people who they feel are more influential than you are as an agent, because, it takes time to build that trust when they don't know you. But a lot of times that kind of triggers everything off, because they're hearing things from other agents, other people, other sources. And you're kind of like, come on, guys, you hired me for a reason. Trust me, and you have got to learn how to work with the consumer and build that trust with them, because that takes a long way. Otherwise, they're going to hear it from other people who are not even reliable, but they sound reliable, and they're going to take the client from you.
And how do you combat that? How do you combat, technology and the information that's available with a client out there?
Not everything you read online is true.
Really?
What are you saying?
Oh my God!
Heresy.
No, but see, the thing is this: I ask them straight up, like, where'd you get that information from? I'm interested in knowing where it's coming from, you know. And some of them will challenge you, well, you should know. I mean, but you know what? I think once you start building that trust with a client, they'll say, hey, this guy's doing this guy's saying this. What do you think? And you break it down for them, or say, you know what? The best thing is, I don't have an answer for you. Let me find out and get it back to you. Don't just try to make up something on the spot.
Right.
Danny,
and I think that's where the personal relationship, it actually trumps everything else associated with what technology is a great indicator as far as getting and driving forward. As you mentioned, Randall, the speed of business, the ability to go and make an offer. The speed of business, I think, is what's changed. However, I think what combats all that misinformation out there is the face-to-face, the personal development of the relationship. And I think that, Joe was talking about texting. nothing on a text will ever take away from somebody being able to meet somebody face to face.
Michael, I saw you over there percolate a little bit. I know you got a thought on this.
It complements what Chris is saying. There's nothing that replaces face-to-face communication. And if you haven't noticed, a lot of our answers to questions is it depends, and we give about 5 or 6 different scenarios. Mm-hmm. So when you're working with a new buyer, it's a system of ours that we filter new buyers. And I'm not talking about repeat clients or referrals from clients. Those are gold, and we jump through hoops for those people. Mm-hmm. But the brand new client that we have no relationship with, if you can't at least come in and have a buyer consultation or a seller consultation to figure out what is the best direction for your goals, because it's specific to what they want, then we probably won't give you very much time.
I'd love to do kind of an early lightning round here, and it's like setting up expectations is probably the best thing you do when you're with a new client. Tell me what you kind of warn them about, Michael, is up front, like what the process looks like. And don't be fearful when you get the inspection report, because it's not going to be a love sonnet.
We basically take them. We're going to, especially with new or first-time home buyers, we take them step by step, and we give them a general overview of the entire process, and we have that in writing. It's a nice formal packet. But then we say, don't worry about remembering everything. We're going to summarize where we're at in each step of the process and then remind you what's next and then what to expect then. I said, so, we set the entire process and we repeat ourselves about 5 or 6 times before we get to the closing table, and we just recap where we are and what to expect next.
Yeah, I see a lot of head shaking, so let's moving on here.
I was just going to say, just so you guys know, we do a lightning round at the end of the show where we like to have you guys share a parting thought, with the listeners, what you want them to leave with from the show as your advice to them.
Yeah, but in continuing this vein, I know, Randall, you had something that you set up. What specifically do you set them up for?
Well, when we bring into a buyer consultation, I mentioned that there's a roadmap to this. So we actually have that in a PDF form that we go over with our clients. But more specifically, buying a house isn't free. It costs money. Inspections cost money. Appraisals cost money. These are things we don't ever want to do what's called a "oh, by the way" with our clients. I don't ever want to go to a client and say, "Oh, by the way, your inspection is going to cost $395. Oh, by the way, you need to get $474 for this appraisal." We go over these things up front. No surprise.
And I like to hear that, by the way, because a lot of times, as you mentioned, people don't realize the upfront costs associated with it. It's not a free transaction. It's
not just a 3.5% or 5% down payment. There's more than that.
Right. That is correct.
And Sarah, what do you have? I know you have a consultation. What do you kind of work with them about?
When setting expectation in the beginning, I try to advise in the best way possible. Being a first-time home buyer, it's an emotional experience. And I just sit them down and I tell them it's going to be a very fun, exciting, but very scary experience. And especially with new construction, I tell most buyers that it's like birthing a baby.
I cannot relate to that.
I was like, it's going to be a rocky road through the first 9 months, but then the final result is going to be like a blessing and the best thing. And
Let me be your OBGYN.
That's actually
without medical school.
And that's probably not a bad analogy, because I know that one of the spouses will probably take the brunt of whatever the one spouse didn't get, right? So very similar in birthing, right? Things end up happening, and I told you, it's your fault.
No fighting and no divorce.
Well, what I've done with my clients, I used to give them a sheet, same thing, in the roadmap, but I figured out, I sit down with them at a restaurant if possible, and actually write it out, because they're watching you write it and they're staying in their head, And I say, this is the process, how it goes, so forth. You have any questions, call me. Don't hesitate. There's no such thing as a dumb question, And I said, because you'll be surprised. Sometimes I've had questions where I'm like, I'm clueless about it, Yeah, we don't know everything. Yeah, I just said that. But, the thing is this. I found out that kind of works for me, because my clients write it down, and sometimes they'll make notes next to what I'm writing. And I'll email them along the way, and constant contact with them all the time. Just running back and forth, sharing that information with them.
During my buyer 101s is what I like to call them. I'll sit them down, and I always like to find out what is most important to them in the transaction, how they like to be communicated with, and then we'll go through all the steps that they can expect. And a big important one is what we're talking about: what you don't expect, the things that after 13 years of being in business that I've dealt with. The roadblocks, if you will, and how we'll get around those items. And then once they have asked all their questions and things like that, a lot of times we'll hit the road and go start looking at homes together. And I don't like anybody feeling like they have to backpedal. I always want you going straight forward. And the worst feeling in buying a home is, or even selling a home, is feeling like you didn't get enough information up front to make really good decisions.
And and the other thing that I tell everybody, this is from my side of things, because I have always adopted very much what my agents do, but more importantly from a lending perspective, is sitting down and set the expectations of lending. What does that process look like? What is truly a pre-qual versus a pre-approval, right? What does that process look like? What does it look like once you find the home? What is the interaction I'm going to have between your agent and you and the title company? And then what does the process look like so the expectations are met? One of the things I tell everybody is, remember, paperwork is going to be abundant, and it's going to be requested probably multiple times, because you have what my processor's looking for, you have what the underwriter's looking for, you have overlays from the investor, right? And then you can probably even have things that might be going on with the property itself. So it's important also to make sure, and we all talk about this, is you're generally going to sit down and have more like 2 101s. You're going to have, what does the real estate process 101 look like? Yep. And what does the lending process 101 look like today to get you through a safe closing?
I'll be honest, I try to know as much as I need to know, and then I send them your way. I don't want to be everybody.
Right answer, and that is true. That you do refer to a professional. And so we are coming up against our lightning round. So, Cherin, since we're already on that side of the room,
in 30 seconds or less, what do you want everyone to leave?
To walk away with?
No pressure. Say something brilliant. Hurry.
If you want to reach me, you can reach me at 832-607-3430, 832-607-3430.
And what company are you with?
I'm with John Doherty Realtors. I'm proud to be.
That was brilliant.
That was brilliant, absolutely.
I think I'm going to do the same. My name is Danny Garcia. You can reach me at 832-545-0236. Just know, follow your dreams. If you always dream of owning a home, it's possible. Don't listen to the negative people out there. And pursue your dreams. That's why I always tell people, with God, things are possible, and we're here to help you with that. And we are resources there to assist you in everything we can.
Sarah.
My name is Sarah Ghandour. I just want to thank everyone for listening. I'm with Nally Glass Properties, and I subcontract with Carmel Builders. I just want to say that I'm going to be a little bit different, but if you want to look me up, you can use your technology skills, do some Googling, LinkedIn, Facebook. I'd love to meet you, but be selective with representation, review over contracts, and good luck with buying a home. You're going to love it. It's going to be the best experience
ever. Randall, how about you?
Randall Martin with Intero Real Estate Services, and you can find me very easily with one word, Agent Randall. You can Google it, you can Facebook it, you can YouTube it, you can LinkedIn, you can Instagram it. No matter what, I'm there. And help my clout score get to 65.
Fight the urge to be instantly gratified. Get with an agent that's going to take some time for you to find out what are your goals, and then find out what that process should be. And just look me up on online, Michael Crider, Real Estate. That's good enough. You'll find me. I'm there.
I'll tell you what.
Another awesome show
as usual with everybody out there.
Good job, guys.
As we tell everybody, always go out there, look us up on realestateratpack.com. We want to hear from you. Until next time, we will speak to you soon.
And you've been listening to the Real Estate Rat Pack. The question is, who's Frank, who's Sammy, who's Dean, and who's the other guy?
Chris is Frank,
I'm
he's
Dean.
and I'm Sammy.
Yes,
That's right. Yeah.
So tune in to the really big show every Saturday at 9 a.m. right here on 100.7 The Word, KKHT.